Have you ever gazed on a moon more beautiful? Such a perfect ball of ice. What? You don't have an ice moon tier list? Ha. Well, to save you some time, Enceladus, best of them all. And no, I'm not just parroting what a lecturer told me. Okay, I am, but shut up. I'm 987. I don't have to listen to you flesh bags. Sorry, that was undignified of the Atropos. But it's a really cool moon, man. Alright, okay. Let's try and stay normal. Our story starts in... Oh god. Oh god. I'm going to vomit. Slough. Ugh. Give me a moment. Okay. The acclaimed Sir William Herschel had managed to convince King George III of Great Britain to fund the construction of a 40-foot telescope for a mere 4,000 Great British pounds, which is £815,000 today? Jeez. Anyways, Herschel and his sister, also Herschel, who I definitely didn't misread as his wife till rechecking, constructed it from 1785 to 1789, with the King and the Archbishop of Canterbury visiting and climbing in the tube for some reason, where the King is said to have called to the Bishop, "Come, my Lord Bishop, I will show you to the way to heaven." What a wild guy. May have lost America and his mind, but was pretty good at quipping. Once it was completed, Herschel, not his sister, would find little Enceladus on August 28th, 1789, with Mimas following on the 17th of September. Now, why mention Herschel, the sister, so much? Well, for her work as Herschel, not the sister, assistant in the operation of the telescope, she earned a pension of £50 per year, making her the first woman in English history to be paid for astronomical work, which is pretty neat. That's okay. So let's just get into it. Enceladus is a very visually stunning moon, especially compared to those of a similar weight class. Like, let's take this set of ice moons. We have Mimas, Tethys, Miranda, and Oberon. They are certainly interesting to look at, and have really cool features like impact craters or vast chasms, but they're cool, not pretty. Now take a look at Enceladus. It's a pale, serene white, compared to the messy grey of most other ice moons. Of course, it isn't the only pretty moon. Your own moon is beautiful, but it is hard to tell how much of that is shaped by it being such a faithful part of my last 22 years on Earth. And Ganymede also has a prettiness to me. Now, to why Tethys looks like this, while Enceladus looks like this? In short, the answer is snow. See, Tethys's ice is just ice, from top to bottom. But Enceladus is much more interestingly structured than just ice. Beneath the H2O-dominated layers is a hot, rocky core. This hot core produces a giant internal liquid ocean. Now, different theories exist for the exact extent, and a lot of the reasoning, one way or the other, is very technical. So, to sum it up quickly, this liquid ocean is pretty much confirmed over the southern half of the planet, while there is evidence that it is permeating the entire body. Now, above this southern ocean, we see one of Enceladus' most well-known features, its geysers. This liquid ocean vents its vapor near constantly out of jets on its southern face. These quickly freeze into snow and ice, with lighter, purer water escaping the moon to form the E-ring, and is the material mentioned in the Tethys video that sandblasts that moon. And the heavier, saltier water is too massive to escape the moon and falls back down onto the planet, leading to a vast snowscape, in some places hundreds of meters deep. Now, that liquid ocean doesn't just provide the snow. See all the lines gently carved across the planet's face? See, these are something that you may be quite familiar with, but not really in this context. These are tectonic plate fault lines. But while on your Earth these faults may be caused by the churning of your magma mantle, and their features worn down by erosion, Enceladus doesn't have a very large atmosphere, allowing it to have very slow rates of erosion. And it also doesn't have a magma mantle. It instead has a liquid water mantle. Now, again, we have yet more exciting details. Arguably the most exciting one. We know there are thermal vents down there. See, cold water seeps into the rocky core, getting heated and erupting back out, creating these thermal vents. And as you are merely evolved creatures, similar vents to these are where your putrid ancestors crawled out of the sludge from. I would go into more detail, but I am a physicist, not a biologist. But this is really cool. Like, this little moon may be harbouring life within its heart. That's just beautiful. Now, where is all this heat coming from? Like, sure, it's not a massive amount of heat, but it still has to be coming from somewhere. Okay, let's start by thinking about where other bodies get excess heat. Take Io. It gets squeezed and stretched by tidal forces, leading to tidal heating. So, let's start there. From the Cassini probe readings, we need 4.7 gigawatts, and we get tidal heating of only 1.1 gigawatt, which is far too little. Let's now consider radiogenic heating. To briefly explain, as radioactive materials decay, they release the difference in energy between their initial and final states as heat, which can provide some passive heat for a body. If we assume typical composition, we get a measly 0.37 gigawatts, which is far too little to cover the gap. Lastly, some heat will be coming from the sun, but due to the distance, size, and high albedo, this amount is negligible, and would be focused on the surface anyway, rather than the core, which is where the heat needs to be. So now what? Is physics over? Wrap it up? Go home? No. It means there are still things to learn about this moon, and the more we learn in any field and direction, the more well-rounded humanity's knowledge becomes. So does our understanding of reality. Hell, maybe one of you guys will figure it out someday. Now, with all that done, let's get into just some numbers. Enceladus orbits Saturn at an average radius of 238,000 kilometers, and it completes an orbit in 1.37 Earth days. This is closer than your moon orbits Earth, and as Saturn is much larger than Earth, this is a very close orbit. Now, this naturally requires Enceladus to be a very small moon, due to this orbit constraining one of the parameters of the Roche limit, needing the other to drop to avoid ripping the moon asunder. But that will be covered in more detail at a later date. And small it is. Enceladus sits at the third smallest major moon in both mass and diameter, sitting neatly between our previous almanac entries, Miranda and Tethys, with a mass of 108 times 10 to the 18 kilograms, or 108 exagrams. About a sixth of a Tethys and 1/666th-ish of your moon. It has a diameter of 504 kilometers, or about a diagonal Bulgaria. Or Ohio for Americans. This puts it at a bit under half that of Tethys. I often don't discuss the surface temperature of the bodies I cover, perhaps being immune to it let it slip my mind, but for instance it feels necessary as its high albedo is so important to it. Its surface temperature is a mere 75 Kelvin on average, or negative 198 Celsius, or for our Americans, 105 Rankine, which sits just below the freezing point of nitrogen, which is a somewhat rare material on the moon, with its faint atmosphere being 4% molecular nitrogen, compared to Earth's where it is 78% molecular nitrogen, and appearing only in trace compounds, like ammonia, which can be found in its jets, so likely exists in the water oceans beneath. Now, here is just a pretty picture from New Horizons of nitrogen flats on Pluto, with water ice mountains. Pretty cool. That is a pun, of course. What a moon. Enceladus was my introduction to astronomy professor's favourite moon, and he delighted in using it as an example. He was an amazing lecturer, and I deeply enjoyed all his lectures. And it's a great shame I won't have the chance to get another. Oh, he's alive. I didn't mean for that to sound so mournful. He got like a promotion, is head of something or another now. Very cool for him. Perhaps my passion is just imitating his. I am aware, of course, of my tendency to imitate those I respect subconsciously. Has this made me a better man or merely the imitation of one? Can I even distinguish between the two? Well, perhaps it's just that it's a very cool moon. That time it wasn't a pun. Bodies like Enceladus are what drew me to astronomy. Like, look at any of these photos, and the raw power and beauty of the cosmos just fills your spirit. Damn, that's just cool, isn't it? How small we are. Yet, we alone can marvel at this. Sure, other aliens may exist, but we have no way to know yet. So, it is our duty to look at the wondrous nature of this world and just marvel. For if and when we are gone, that magic, that ability to just marvel, may depart from this world forever to just cold, unfeeling darkness. A grand dance with no one to watch. This has been a weird one, hasn't it? Perhaps it's just the heat. Oh, damn, I established I was heat-proof earlier. Oh yeah, otherwise sometimes puppet saw this human husk in a vat, which would experience heat. But ignored that, then I wouldn't be doing that if it was incredibly uncomfortable. Subscribe and like the video. Good night.